Thank you. Good afternoon. We're going to get started right now. If I can get all the elected officials, community people up to the microphone, please. You guys, come on in. Everybody, come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in.
It's the same one, but it's back. It's looking
Okay. Yes. Any other city?
Abby Kamen, City Council Member Abby Kamen.
Oh, hey. All right. All right. If everybody can come on around. Let me thank all of you for coming out on this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Friday evening, Friday afternoon. God has blessed us with wonderful weather. Let me thank all of the elected officials and community leaders that you see assembled here. Let me thank the media for coming out for such an important message that we have today as we are talking about what may be the imminent takeover of HISD by TEA and the governor of the state of Texas. The body that you see before you are all in unison, are all together in one voice that are saying no to the takeover of HISD performed by TEA. Before we get started, let me acknowledge everyone that is here. Everyone will not speak, but I do want to acknowledge their work and the work that they're going to be doing as I let you know that Mayor Sylvester Turner will be speaking, then Senator Whitmire, Senator Miles, Representative Christina Morales with Vice President or Vice Chair of MALC. And then from there, we have the Dean of the Democratic Party and Dean of the House, Ms. Sophronia Thompson. I always got to pay homage, and if you would, please give her a big round of applause. Some of us have only been in the House for a very short time, and we're already ready to pull our hair out and lose our minds, but the Dean has been there for 50 years and is still doing excellent and amazing work. That's none other than Sophronia Thompson. We have Representative Theory, Representative Dr. Allen, Representative Jolanda Jones, Representative John Rosenthal, Representative Anna Hernandez, Representative Ron Reynolds, who is the chair of the Texas Legislative Black Caucus. We have Representative Ann Johnson, no relation, but she's my sister from another mother. We have Councilmember Robinson, Councilmember Abby Kamen. Do we have anybody?
Gallegos is here.
Councilmember Gallegos. And there are going to be a number of other people that will come. Please know that everyone that is here is on the same accord. We understand that this takeover is a disingenuous one and an egregious one at this time. HISD, and you will hear this over and over again, is doing a phenomenal job. We all just left from the centennial state of the district, the centennial state of the district, 100 years. And we are standing here because TEA has made the decision at this time to take over HISD. And I say this is egregious because as we currently speak, HISD has a B+ rating. They are the highest rated ISD in all of the large schools in all of the state of Texas. And the governor says that it needs to be taken over. TEA says that it needs to be taken over. There was a time in which HISD needed to be taken over, but not at this time. Because at this time, the new board and the new superintendent are doing a phenomenal job. And so we know that this is not by chance. We know this is not by happenstance, but this was designed by the governor because we know that there is a move afoot to create vouchers in this city, in this state, to privatize public education. We do know that everyone who may benefit from vouchers are not the ones who need to benefit from vouchers because a voucher is only $5,000 to $6,000. How are you going to pay for the other $7,000 to $10,000 that you may need if you decide to go to a private school? So this is nothing more than just welfare for those that already have the opportunity of going on to go to private school. But we know that this is going to be detrimental to the state of Texas. But we as a body, as state legislators, are standing here before you to say we are not asleep at the wheel, that we will, or we are in the process right now of rewriting legislation, and that we will be working to look at any and every lawsuit that we can bring to the doorstep of the governor and to the doorstep of TEA to thwart the efforts to take over HISD. And so with that being said, I'm not going to belabor this, but I want to bring up the mayor of this great city of Houston, Mayor Sylvester Turner, because this is going to be a tremendous impact to this city. Mayor Turner.
Look, let me certainly acknowledge State Representative Jarvis Johnson and all of our legislators from the Senate to the House, city council members and local school board members, trustees as well, and even in their absence, some of our congressional leaders. I know I spoke to Congresswoman Sheila Jackson-Lee just before coming here, and then to be at our community leaders, and especially the major stakeholders. And those are the 194,000 plus students in HISD. They are the major stakeholders. Our bus drivers, the ones who are picking them up and carrying them to and fro. Our custodial workers, they are the ones who are cleaning up 273 schools in HISD. Our teachers, the educators, the parents of all of these kids and the communities from which they come from, and then the city as a whole. That's why we are standing here. Ever since the Texas Supreme Court decision came down, there has been growing speculation about the state moving in on HISD. In the last recent week or so, those rumors have gotten louder and louder. And then on Saturday, instead of dealing with rumors, I decided to call the Commissioner of Education, Commissioner Morath, and just asked him point blank, are any of these rumors true? Do you all intend the state to take over HISD? And the commissioner would not confirm nor deny. What he did say is that there are some provisions that are discretionary for the state, and then there are some provisions that are mandatory. And he specifically referenced weekly and said, Mayor, there are mandatory provisions. So, there are two options. Either you close a school or you take over the district. Which would you prefer? When I said to the commissioner, there's a third option too. And that is the legislature is in session now. That's right. And if you see any provision that would force you to do something that's not in the best interest of the kids, you can go to the legislature now and make any modification that's needed, and we can move further down the road. And then I asked whether or not there were any moves already on foot to move on HISD. Let me say this. The best way to end speculation or rumor is simply for TEA, for the state, to say we have no intentions to take over HISD. And the issue would be over, resolved, and people can move forward. That's the best way. TEA can speak to it, the state can speak to it, and they should. Because quite frankly, our students deserve certainty. And our students deserve stability. And the bus drivers, the custodial workers, the teachers, parents deserve stability. And so why engage in this? And if the state has the intention of taking over the largest school district in the state of Texas, the largest one, then the state should stand up, be forthright, be transparent, and let people know who you're talking to and what the plans are. But let me say to you what I said to the commission. I said to them, this is not a small school district. You just can't sweep in and take it over without there being major consequences. This is a large school district. And if the state were to come in and take it over, what I said to the state, you take ownership of it. And what are the benchmarks by which you will be measured? And are you saying that every school will now be successful if you take it over? Or will you take it over and ravage it? And then after 4 or 5 years, give it back after you have destroyed it? I'll close by saying this. In 2019, there were 50 schools in the DNF category. In 2023, 40 of those 50 schools are no longer in that category. Phyllis Wheatley is no longer in that category. HISD is a B+ school system. And in every single category, HISD outperforms the Dallas Independent School District. So, I think what people need to know, you cannot come into this city and claim or think you're going to take it over, and everybody else is going to sit down and be quiet. When you take on the children, you take on the parents, you take on their neighbors, and you take on this city. Leave HISD alone.
Let me, before we move on, let me also acknowledge that Representative Jean Wu has joined us. We also have board members, school board members, Kathy Bloomberg Daniels, as well as Myrna Guidry, as well as HCC board member Charlene Johnson. Patricia Allen is here as well. Dr. Patricia, we're not going to forget doctors. Dr. Allen did all she could to make sure all her children got doctorate degrees. Wonderful job. Let's move on because I don't want to belabor this. I will say this to the governor. Texas ranks last in respect to health care for children and women. There are other things that we need to be working on, Governor. We rank first in guns that kill children and teenagers. There are other things that we need to be working on, Governor. We rank last in mental health for health care in this country. There are other things that we need to be working on, Governor. Not trying to take over a school district that is a B+ rated school district. There are other things that we need to be taking on, Governor, not destroying HISD and Harris County. Let's move on to Senator John Whitmire, who is the Dean of the House for the Senate.
Thank you, Representative Johnson. Let me say to the commissioner, you do know how to unite a community. And you should be uniting a community for better funding of public schools, more support across our 1,050 school districts, and more direct. HISD is the wrong school district at the wrong time. You're at the wrong place. And at least put a moratorium on your moves till we can sit down with you in Austin. I could spend the rest of the afternoon, along with my colleagues, documenting the improvement that HISD's made in recent times. As a proud HISD graduate, I can testify we've always had challenges. HISD has not always looked like the future of Texas. Look who is united today, the future of Texas. So let's stay fired up. We have a real responsibility and a challenge. People not here today are depending on us, our workers, our teachers, our families, and keep our community schools. The most shameful part of this action is right here in the middle of a semester. So I would ask him to meet with us, wait till we can have a deliberate discussion, document. I wish he would have been at the report on HISD schools that Superintendent House gave. He gave a very glowing passing report. No reference to the way it was when the state started its action 3 years ago. So let's stay fired up. You're looking at the leadership of HISD surrounding me from every level of government has a huge responsibility. And let me close on this one. It's not just a Houston issue. HISD furnishes Bel Air and West U and other communities their education system. So we need to come together not only as a city and a district, but as a region to protect HISD and its students. Thank you.
Next, we'll have Senator Boris Miles.
Let me remind you of the late, great Maya Angelou, who once said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. Governor, leadership of Texas, we know who you are. We know what you're about. We know what you're trying to do. I've looked in their eyes. They don't have to do this. Believe me when I tell you, they don't have to do this. They want to do this. They want to do this. House has already told us, and we already know, that together, key word, Pastor Baptist preacher said 3 times, together, we have shown them that together, education can be transformative. And HISD has transformed. We have changed and turned the rudder in the ship. So don't stand there today, as you stand there in video and as you sit at home and watch these newscasts. Don't sit in your house and say when, because when is now. Who is you? And together, we can beat this problem, we can fight this and turn this around. We don't have no magic dust. We got y'all. This does not have to happen. They want it to happen. These are our children. And we got to fight for them. Let's keep our faith and continue our fight to protect the future. This is the 7th largest school district in the country. This is not protecting and turning around education. This is about money. This is about vouchers. This is about a run for the presidency. Let's not be fooled. Thank you.
We're going to bring up the Vice Chair of MALC, Cristina Morales.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Primero en español, mi nombre es Cristina Morales, representante estatal del Distrito 145. Y nomás quiero decir que una toma de control elimina los líderes locales libremente elegidos, anulada de democrática y la voz del pueblo. Votamos por nuestras juntas escolares porque nosotros, como comunidades, podemos hacer las responsabilidades. Votamos por nuestros juntos escolares porque sabemos quién está mejor preparado para supervisar la educación de nuestros hijos. Las escuelas son más sólidas en manos de líderes locales. HISD sirve una población estudiantil diversa y en este crecimiento que los líderes estatales no pueden entender completamente. Una toma de posición estatal privará a los votantes y silenciará a nuestra voz latina. ¿Cómo sabe el comisionado qué necesitan nuestros niños aquí en Houston? Él no sabe. No sabe. El control estatal elimina nuestra capacidad de tener una voz en nuestras escuelas. Ahora en inglés. Now in English. My name is Cristina Morales. I'm the state representative for Texas House District 145 here in Houston. I'm also the vice chair of the Mexican American Legislative Caucus. I want to recognize some of my colleagues here from the caucus, Representative Ana Hernandez and Representative Jean Wu. One of our priorities this session is education. Actually, it's the #1 priority. I just want to say that Governor Abbott is determined to shoot down our public schools, and sadly, one of our colleagues gave him the ammunition. And I know my colleague probably had the best of intentions when he created this law, but as a student myself, and as a parent, and as a grandparent, I know there are many frustrations with HISD, but why would you let the fox guard the hen house? Come on. We cannot let this happen. No good can come out of this. We must band together, as the Senator Whitmire and Senator Miles said, we must band together. And I just want to say that I'm so grateful for Representative Johnson, Jarvis Johnson, and Mayor Turner for putting this rally together as the governor contemplates his bid to run for president. He is talking about parent choice, but he doesn't want the parent's choice to run our school district? Right. Listen, a state takeover removes the duly elected officials, the elected leaders, overruling democracy and the voice of the people. We vote for our school boards because we, as communities, can hold them accountable. We vote for our school boards because we know who is best prepared to oversee the education of our children. Schools are strongest in the hands of local leaders. Our school is comprised of our neighbors who care about our kids. HISD serves a diverse and growing student population, and the state leaders in Austin cannot fully understand our community. How does the commissioner know what our kids need here in Houston? We need to focus on increasing funding for education in schools. TEA school grading for HISD schools continues to improve, so why now? Why now? We cannot allow the state to negate the progress we have made. Studies have found that state takeovers fail to improve school districts. We know who the commissioner chooses will not care for the children in our schools like those who stand up and run to serve on the school board. The truth is plain and simple. The state wants to silence the voices of Black and Hispanic students, parents, and families and leaders. Thank you.
That's what I say. Say that again.
Thank you. As you see, this has been a labor by all sections of politics. We have all the state reps here. Every state rep in Houston, Harris County area is in agreement with a few that are not. But we have city, county, as well as our congressional leaders that are all in agreement with stopping the takeover. We have one of our congressional leaders here, none other than Congressman Al Green.
Thank you, Representative. Let me thank the press for being here because we do need to get this message to the masses. I thank all of those who've had a hand in organizing this event. It's necessary. I thank those who want to be here and cannot. Commissioner Ellis wants to be here but is unavailable at this time. But he does send a message of hope that we will be able to prevent this takeover from taking place. I'm here because we, in the American Rescue Plan, sent $993 million to HISD. Federal government helps to fund these school districts. We have a vested interest not only in this monetarily, but also in the children. We, at our level, understand where the future lies, and it's in these schools. And we also, at our level, believe in elections. People have been duly elected and are serving, and I believe they merit the opportunity to continue their service. I'd like to just compare HISD to another ISD. I shall not give the name, but I will give the numbers so that you can see that it's a fair comparison. HISD has 193,727 students. The other ISD has 143,430 students. HISD has 43% of its students at level or above. The other ISD has 41%. HISD is subject to a takeover. The other ISD isn't. HISD has academic growth at 78%, the other at 73%. HISD is subject to a takeover. The other ISD isn't. HISD has its children career ready at the level of 60%. I don't claim that this is the best, but it's better than the other ISD, which is at 59%. HISD has SAT scores at 967, the other ISD 911. HISD has 25.9% ACT scores. The other ISD has 16. The point is this: if you're going to do things fairly and justly and equitably, you can't decide that you're going to start with an ISD that has a better record than this other ISD. You can't do that. That's not fair. That's not just. That's not equitable. And friends, I'm proud that the governor has decided that children in schools are important, because for a moment, after 19 babies were murdered, and the governor declined to call a special session, I was of the opinion that the governor really wasn't that concerned about the lives of children in schools. But I'm here to tell you, Governor, you have got to do more than decide to pick on minority-controlled institutions. You've got to decide, Governor, that minority people are just as important as anybody else in this state, Governor, and that we're going to stand together, Governor. People of color are coming together against this kind of foolishness. We will not allow vouchers to replace the independent school districts that we have. We will be together forever. God bless you. God bless this country. And pray for the governor of the state of Texas.
We got one more congressperson. I think she's somewhere out there. We're going to allow Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, who is on the... Congresswoman, go ahead. Congresswoman, go ahead.
Hello, everyone. I'm so honored to be able to join you. Thank you, Representative Johnson, for having the courtesy to give me this moment to be able to join you and say that we will win this fight, and we are not going back. Many have said that the journey has been long, but I want everybody to know that the journey is long, but the arc toward justice continues to bend. My words, modified by the words of Dr. King that said, "Why we can't wait." I realize that we have had challenges, but I've always said that this year, 2023, has to be the year of the child. We have to be able to focus on the children of HISD. They have worked in the backdrop of a pandemic, and they have made mighty successes. The schools are at B and B+. They have struggled to get where they need to be. Maybe there is more that needs to be done on reading and other enhancements, but that's our fight. It is not the fight of a structure that does not listen and has no responsibility to listen to the parents of the children, the teachers, the laborers, the bus drivers. None of those persons who care about children will be listened to. The elected officials will not be listened to. The very essence of our civil rights will be denied. The very essence of due process will be denied. The very essence of freedom of speech will be denied, because no one will be heard. And so I just wanted to come this evening by way of telephonic, as I stand in the airport, to be able to say, I'm with you. And as I said earlier this morning, we will win this. We will win this. We will not lose. We will win this. And I hope people will say, we will win. We will win, because we are right. We're on the righteous side of right. And please, stay the course. Be reminded of all of those who had fights that we thought we could not win, from the Revolutionary War to wars even beyond this time of history. Let us stand steadfast for what is right. So I'm grateful that you're there. I will give every inch, working with the U.S. Department of Education, working with the U.S. Department of Justice, to be able to find a pathway for our state to be able to do what is right. I know there's a way, and I'm grateful that all of you have gathered. Again, we will win. because we are standing in the point of the arc of justice, and Dr. King's phrase, why we can't wait. We're here marching on. Thank you all so very much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Legislators are only as strong as the people that elect us to be here. And the person that I'm going to bring up next is the person who has stood in front of all of us, who have worked with us and certainly encouraged us to do the work that we're doing, and that is none other than Bishop James Dixon of the NAACP, our very own president, James Dixon.
Thank you, Representative Jarvis Johnson, to our mayor, our congressional representatives, all of the state representatives. Certainly, before I speak, I want one of the leaders among leaders in the State House. She is a sage, and alongside Rep. Thompson, I think that we know who she is, and she's an educator. An educator of educators, of course, Dr. Alma Allen.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Reverend Dixon. People, we are in a fight for our lives, for the future of our children. We are in a fight, and everybody must put their hands to the plow. I want to talk about vouchers. They've given you a lot of information about why not take over HISD, other cities who should be taking over. Okay, I want to talk about vouchers. I'm going to take 3 minutes to tell you this, because I'll be quick because I want you to understand it. Vouchers. I don't know how much those vouchers are worth. They tell you that you can take your children for a private school with the voucher. There are not enough private schools in Houston to take on the 190,000 children in HISD. There are no private school for children who are handicapped and need diapers changed. There are no schools for those children. If the voucher was $10,000 and you gave it to a parent in my neighborhood, they wouldn't be able to go to a private school. Private school costs upward $20,000, $30,000. They wouldn't be able to go. They would not take some of our children in the first place. They're probably right now already full. Now, they don't say we're going to transport your children. They gonna say your child can get anywhere, but if a child wants to go over here for art, one over here for STEMs, one over here for something else, that's your job. That's on you. You have to get your children there. I just want you to understand what they are saying to you and don't fall for it, because your children are going to be in your neighborhood schools. Take care of your neighborhood schools. That is your responsibility too. Don't fall for it. I'm in the fight. I hope that you're in the fight. Let's fight.
Thank you, Dr. Alma Allen. That needed to be said and heard. Again, my name is James Dixon. I pastor the Community of Faith Church, and so I'm wearing two hats. One, of course, as a faith leader in our community and as the president of the Houston branch of the NAACP.
Come on.
Moving on.
I am glad to be here.
Keep talking. Go on and talk.
All right now.
Go on and talk. There's always one.
I am
Keep talking. Go ahead.
I am honored to be here.
Guess what you got?
Got to go. Hey, ho, ho. TEA has got to go. Hey, ho, ho. TEA has got to go. Hey, ho, ho. TEA has got to go.
Hey, ho, TEA has got to go.
Let me say this very poignantly. I'm thankful that the pastors who are here, Dr. T. Grant Malone, thank you so very much. Thank you, Dr. Pastor Jamel Johnson. We appreciate you. And Bishop Destry Bell is here, Pastor Nathan Jenkins. Thank you so very much for being here.
Yeah.
I am honored to stand here with this diverse group of leaders who understand the fact that our collective potency, standing on principle, is greater than any force that's adverse to the well-being of our children and our schools. It is clear to us that the governor needs to have a conversation. It is clear to us that the governor needs to come to the table along with TEA and explain some very fundamental things. One question I want to ask the governor, because I am a product of HISD. I'm a graduate of the SP Waltrip High School. I think my sister is a graduate. My brother is a graduate. I think we turned out pretty good coming out of HISD. The question I want to raise to the governor, Mayor, is how do you explain to the children of HISD who are preparing for their testing?
Sure right.
Aren't we in testing season?
Yeah, we get there, yeah.
How is it that you explain to the parents and the children that you create this distraction
At this time.
at this time while the children are preparing for testing? Secondly, the question is to say that Wheatley, closing Wheatley or taking over HISD are your only two options. How do you explain to the children of Wheatley that you come up to a C+, but you are still on the chopping block? How do you explain to the children of HISD who earned the B+ rating? Are they the teachers in this crowd? Lift your hands. I want teachers, walk up front for just, I want the governor and the TTA face the cameras. Explain to these hard-working teachers and explain to these hard-working students who stayed up at night studying, who paid for tutoring, who did all that was necessary after the pandemic. Explain to the tax-paying parents who got their children ready to earn better grades and lifted HISD to a B+ rating. How do you explain to these hard-working teachers your goodness is not good enough? That a B+ rating is not good enough. I want to ask the question, if a B+ rating still warrants you being taken over and shut down, how do you say to a child studying to do your work counts at all? I think, Governor, TEA, we've got to have a conversation. What is the real reasoning? Explain to us your rationale. You can't convince us that a B+ rating is still worthy of being taken over. And a school coming off the IR list to a C+ still warrants being on the chopping block. There's got to be something that you know we don't know. And so we're asking you to please sit down with our leaders. Sit down with our senators, our state reps, our elected officials. Sit down with our pastors and let's talk about this. Come, let's reason together. Let's reason together as Texans. Let's reason together as leaders. Let's reason together to see what is the real motivation as to why you think HISD has to be taken over. Until you can do that, we're asking you to stand down, issue a moratorium, delay the action until there can be accountability. Because your action does not match the reality. Let's not lie to ourselves. Don't embarrass HISD as if they're failing. You ought to be celebrating the progress because in 19 months, we've lifted 40 schools off the IR list and we're still getting better. Hey, hey, ho, ho, TEA has got to go. We will win.
Let's give it up for Bishop Dixon. Before we go, we're going to have a question and answer. At this time, I do need to recognize that also here is LULAC. Representatives from LULAC are here. HESP, Retha Thomas, AFT here, and we've seen all the teachers that are here. AFL-CIO, any other organization I do not want to forget.
HESD.
I've already said HU. All right, so at this time, I don't want to belabor this. I certainly thank everybody who was here. If there's any question to answer at this particular time, for any of the members that are up here, we'd be more than happy to take the questions from the media.
Can't hear you.
One of the reasons why you see all of the state legislators that are here and the state senators that are here is because we are proposing new legislation. Dr. Allen will be carrying legislation that will help to remove the shall to a may, but we also have to look at what are some of the laws that are being broken at this time, because Mraz says that he is bound by state law to do so, and he is not, because Wheatley and Kashmir have not had the 5 consecutive years that they said that they have had. But the question has to be, where was the governor when, again, HISD did have a problem when they were failing, but now that HISD is succeeding, now you want to intercede. So at the end of the day, every time you see HISD with these black and brown students succeeding and progressing, then you have the other side that want to step in and say, wait a minute, you're progressing a little too much, so we want to come in and stop you from all this progression, because we don't really believe in equality, as you understand the governor has already said. We don't believe in equality, we don't believe in inclusion, and we certainly don't believe in diversity. That's the message that he's sending. So we are working collaboratively right now to make sure that we all have legislation to get passed. Again, from you guys from the media, I will, yes. I'm not.
The people who are standing here are on board with moving forward, not backwards. And we cannot afford to look in the rearview mirror. We're looking through the windshield, because the past is behind. Right now, we've got a school district with a B+ rating, and the moral thing to do by this TEA and this governor is to disband the idea of taking it over, come in and support the progress. That's where this group stands. Only the media. What we're saying is this: Wheatley has a C+ rating, and the media and everyone else should tell the true story. Tell the true story. That question needs to be raised to them. I think all we know is HISD has a B+ rating. The progress is going higher and higher, and all the leaders of Houston-Harris County are on board with moving it forward. We're asking our state government to support progress. Don't punish progress. Support progress. Don't punish progress. Support progress.
And in closing, you have to look at, number one, to your question, Harris County is a blue county. The largest blue county in this state. So goes Harris County, so goes this state. Houston is a blue city. HISD is run by all Democrats. It is now no coincidence that the governor and others have targeted Harris County. They've said there is voting irregularities here. There is not. They said that the school district is in disarray. It is not. They have refused to give the money for Hurricane Harvey, where we were hit by the hardest. So we've seen this egregious behavior by the governor and by others to attack Harris County. And so we're not going to stand by and allow this attack to continue. So with that being said, let me thank everyone who is here, all of those that have been on the stage with us. This fight has not stopped. It will continue. We will work harder to bring our constituents to the Capitol, to the doorsteps of the governor, to the doorsteps of the Capitol, to make sure our voices are heard. One more comment.
I need to make one more announcement. On this coming Monday, there's going to be, it's the 6th of March, there's going to be a parent community meeting at the North Main Church of God in Christ on North Main at 610 at 6:30 p.m. And we're looking for all of us to be there. And we are looking forward to having a conversation beyond that with our leadership in the state, because all of us are calling our governor and TEA, come, let's reason together. Thank you all very, very much. 7206 North Main.